All right, guys, we have another guest. Can you believe it? It's sort of the end of the season. It feels like all the guests are rolling in right now to Christmas Countdown, which we're super excited about. And this is a person who is a part of a group. This is massive. We were so fortunate a couple episodes we got to chat with the icon Darlene Love, who was like on our Christmas wish list of guests. And now we have another Christmas wish list guest person, whatever you want to call it, who is joining us here on Christmas Countdown. Please welcome from the smash hit successful group Pentatonix. You know them, love them. Please welcome to Christmas Countdown, Kevin Olusola. Kevin, how are you?
Hey, how are you guys? Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh man, we're so happy to have you. Danny and I and Chris, we're huge Christmas fans, as I'm pretty sure that you probably are, being a part of Pentatonix. But we've talked so much about Pentatonix and how you guys come out with new music every season, and it's so great. It's so strong. Danny and I have both been fans since the sing-off days, and Chris as well. We remember you guys like from the get, and we're just so excited to be talking to you today. This is really cool.
Oh man, that means the world. Did you guys have any favorites from the sing-off that you guys like really emotionally connected to? I'm just curious.
I had a favorite. I mean, as far as groups go, unfortunately, I wasn't on board with Pentatonix immediately. I really wanted Dartmouth Airs to win. I really liked what they were doing. It was awesome.
They're good, man. I still love a lot of those guys are still friends today. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just remember I was at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 2012. I was living out in New York at the time, and I remember being up on like 73rd and Central Park West, and the float comes by and you guys are on it, and I was like, there is an Acappella group who is in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Like, because I grew up on Acappella music. My dad is a barbershop singer, and I grew up like listening to Acappella and Impact and the Blenders and the Knudsen Brothers and all these like old like Acappella groups. Dude, so when like the sing-off came out, I was like, finally Acappella groups are getting their due. And then you guys like have made Acappella music cool.
So cool.
Like people are obsessed with Acappella music now. And so we're huge fans, like Eric said, not just, now because you guys have become superstars, but like way back in the day. And I'm grateful. And like when I look up your like bio, because as everyone who listens to the show knows, I like to do deep dives into learning about people, before I chat with them. And I'm looking at your bio and all that you've done, like cellist, beatboxer, singer, you're fluent in Chinese, you're a dad, like what have you not done? Like, it's just incredible, man.
My wife will say, your cooking's fine, but we should maybe give that to somebody else if we're trying to keep the family alive.
Right. I think my wife might say something similar. However, I am not fluent in any languages other than English. But like Acappella music, I think a lot of people think like when you say Acappella music, they go like four guys standing by like a street lamp, in Jersey, like singing doo-wop sort of thing. That's what people think. But like, when did you first get introduced to Acappella music, and what was it about that style that drew you in?
Oh, that's such a good question. So I was in choir for 2 years, 4th grade and 5th grade. And I remember just being so emotionally impacted by group harmony, group singing, where there's something about the frequencies of so many voices together coming to one that overwhelms you with emotion. Like it's such a mind-boggling experience. But then Acappella itself, I actually went to boarding school at a place called Phillips Academy in Andover, Mass. And this is kind of like a pitch perfect story. I remember I was literally beatboxing in the shower, and this one guy, Andy St. Louis, he basically opens the showers and goes, dude, you're beatboxing incredible. And I'm like, I'm taking a shower. What is going on? Like this. And so then he's like, when you're done with the shower, come speak to me. I go, okay, go speak to him. And he says, hey, so we have this group on campus called the Yorkies. We'd love for you to do percussion on our album that we're working on.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because my dad did not like the fact that I beatbox. I didn't know it was called beatboxing. I didn't know it was called vocal percussion. I just made sounds. And my dad would always just be like, shut up. I'm trying to focus on driving or whatever I'm doing, but you continue doing this thing. So I joined this Acappella group, and I do beatboxing recording for their album. And I remember getting it back, and I said, this is crazy that you can make beatboxing sound like it's actual production
Yeah.
for singing. And I sent it to my dad. I said, you know that thing that you called like kind of trash, that you were like, I don't like the fact that you do that. Some people actually call that talent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
And it was really cool for him to listen to it and go, oh wow, this is actually really cool what you're doing. You know, not thinking it was ever going to be a career, but I think he started to gain that. I think that was the first like inclination that he said, okay, this is something that my son has as a musical gift
that he's very great at. Yeah, that's awesome. So, Kevin, you guys have released with Pentatonix 8 Christmas albums in 11 years. First of all, just eight that's albums in 11 years sounds insane to begin with. And the fact that you could get that many with all just about Christmas. Tell us about the process. Like, when do you guys start recording the Christmas album? Is it in the summer where you sort of have to, pretend that you're in the spirit, or are you guys working, a whole winter ahead? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, you said 8 out of 11 years. Like, I now realize why my body's so tense and why my voice is so hoarse all the time, because we've done 8 albums in 11 years.
Yeah.
It depends. Like, so for example, the Holidays Around the World album, we actually started that in January when we were filming the Christmas special for Disney.
Oh, wow.
And from there, we kind of just started to, because we knew it was going to take some time to get all the collaborators, and some were going to come in, some may not be able to do it, and there are collaborators all around the world. So it took some time getting that one done. The most recent one, I'd say it's the same thing. We started in January and actually finished it in May before we went on our European tour. So we're always kind of thinking about Christmas, knowing that this time of the year is coming. But it's also kind of amazing because you get to be in the Christmas spirit year round.
Yeah.
And that's like the happiest, the jolliest.
We talk about that, yeah.
Get to see, like, for example, my daughter, who absolutely loves what we do, which is so cool to say. I thought she was going to be so burned out by this music, but she still loves it. She's listening to it. Like, I remember we had Please Santa Please mix. I don't know, probably July or no, I mean, it was early because we turned it into May, but like I was playing it for her in July, and she's like, since then, she's like, I just want to hear that video. I want to hear that music all the time. I want to see the video all the time. It's like, it's cool that even though it's early, the family really, really loves it. We really enjoy it. And it just makes it that much more exciting to be able to do the Christmas tour after having had this music in our system for quite a while.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So I'm curious, with like musicians who play instruments, like, there's a process of like, let's sit down and let's start strumming out some chords on the guitar, and then the bass sort of starts coming in, and then drums. Like, when you guys are working on arrangements or when you're writing new songs, like That's Christmas to Me, like you as vocal percussionists, like what is your sort of process? And then you guys as a group, as you start to hammer out arrangements together?
Our process has changed throughout the years. I think when we started off, especially on the sing-off, we would just sit in a circle and start to throw out random ideas, be very, very improvisational. And I think that really helped us find our sound, what we do. But then as kind of life got a little bit busier, we started to do a lot more touring, more albums, more records. We realized that we needed to have a more efficient process. Sure. And so what we would start to do is just use a voice memo and just kind of have like a pre-arrangement done, kind of know what the arc's going to be like. And then we would sing that like badly sung pre-arrangement into a voice memo and then send it to our arranger, Ben Bram, to kind of take all the parts that he's hearing and say, okay, let me flesh this out a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, in each of those processes, I'm still just improvising different beats that I think could possibly work. And just trying to understand where we're trying to go and just feel it within my system. Just literally like a producer would sit at the computer, listen to different sounds, see what works with the song that he's trying to make, right? Exact same thing. And now, because of technology, we've really had a lot more fun kind of taking the process ourselves, bringing our Pro Tools rig, bringing what I use, Ableton, and trying stuff on our own, trying different like production elements that we think could be interesting. Because now I think we're in this place where we're actually interested in, I'm not saying moving away from acapella, but adding instrumentation to what we do vocally to enhance our vocal kind of prowess. So I think now having more of those production tools at hand actually has been really, really fun. And I think the possibilities now are endless.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Kevin, I am in no way a beatboxer. I'm not claiming that at all. But I do want to say I make one relatively cool noise with my mouth. I'll demonstrate it for you now. I call it a human kazoo or an air guitar, but it sounds like this.
Oh, I want to hear this.
Right? So that sounds pretty good. That's the one sound I can do.
Let's go.
But I love doing it. I do it all the time. My wife and my kids are sometimes like, "Shut up. We know you can make that noise." But it's very pleasing to my mouth. Like it feels good in my mouth. So I'm wondering, with all of the different sounds that you're able to make, is there a certain part of vocal percussion that, like, a certain sound that you're like, "Oh, I love when I get to add this to the song," or whatever, or perform this part of what I do?
You know, the thing that I've always enjoyed is adding my snare to a song.
Yeah.
Because I really love adding kind of like cool hip hop beats to what we do, because I think people don't associate this polished acapella sound with kind of grittier beats.
Sure,
and so
yeah.
when I get to bring that to it, I don't know, it gives it like a coolness that I really, really enjoy about acapella.
groove,
so
yeah.
that's
Yes.
I love that sound so much.
That's awesome. That's so great.
And so that's
Dude.
probably the one that I use the most out of anything. Also,
Yeah.
the reason I do that a lot is because instead of like the rock snare, the hard thing is that you're exhaling so much breath, so it's hard for me to get air. But with the snare,
Sure.
the K snare, I'm able to get so much breath in and just continue beatboxing. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I use it also a lot.
Yeah.
It just helps me continue doing what I have to do on stage.
That is
great.
so incredible. I have so many questions about beatboxing because listening to all the acapella music that I grew up listening to, I was like, oh, I want to try to create those sounds. And so I'm curious because I feel like there's a lot of people listening who secretly love beatboxing. Like I feel like it's that thing you do, like you were saying, you're in the shower or you're driving to work and you're sort of by yourself or you're with your kids and you're like, listen to what I can do. But like, what are some tips or like little tricks for anyone out there who's like, whether they've been trying to do it for years or they want to start trying to learn how to beatbox, like what's a good starting point for people?
I think the first thing that I will say, I know you've probably heard this before, but all the foundation starts with is boots and cats, right? So the boots is the kick, the hi-hat, and the cats right? Now mine's a little bit more complicated, but what I would say is that one, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Your mouth is your mouth. The way your mouth has been designed and shaped is your mouth. So you can take all the techniques and learn them, and they just might sound differently with your mouth. And that is perfectly okay. That means you have your own production kit that you get to use to make the music that is satisfying and soothing to you. So I think that's a really, really important point. Then I would say I am not the kind of beatboxer that wants to have the most sounds and be the best beatboxer in the world. That's not something that really pertains to me. What I want to do is be the best musician that I can be, so I can utilize the sounds in a way that works for the music that I'm trying to create, right? Whether it's in a full production and my beatboxing is in there that adds another element to it, or my production kit is just my mouth. I try to listen to as much music as I possibly can, digest it so that whenever I start to beatbox, it feels like I'm truly making music appropriate for the production that is being made. So I say focus on being an amazing musician. And the technique will then follow the musicianship that you're trying to portray.
That's awesome. That's truly great advice.
I feel like that's such like an a cappella musician's way of looking at it, because when you are doing a cappella music, so much of it is about blending together rather than just making really, really cool sounds with your mouth. Like you might be able to do something really cool, but it detracts from what you guys are doing together as a group. And it's finding that way to blend, which I think is just brilliant. That's an amazing tip.
You guys are on tour right now, correct?
You are literally right now in my dressing room. So very much on tour.
Amazing. So tell us how the tour is going so far.
Oh my gosh. You know what? It's so funny that it is called the most wonderful tour of the year, because that actually is what we feel with this specific tour. This feels like the most exciting tour we have done in our whole career, there are so many moments to the tour that are just so unbelievably special, you know, with the Scott and his TikTok moment, or the fact that we have a B stage for the first time. And it's so amazing to go out there in the audience and being able to touch your fans and speak to them and really connect with them in a much more personal way than I think we ever have before. You know, Matt and I have this really, really cool section where we take Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy that we did as a band, and we are reimagined it for this stage a la Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Nice.
And I'm doing kind of I people, you know, with Jimi Hendrix, I'll say Kevin Hendrix type cello playing, where it's just like the electric and rocker, and it's distorted, and it's just like mean, and like I have so much fun doing that because people just don't expect that kind of sound out of a cello. So it's definitely the most exciting tour we feel like we've done. And I honestly, I go, how in the world do we top this one for next year? Because it's just, we put all the stops, everything that we could think of creatively. What about this? What about a t-shirt gun? It's like we did everything we could. And so it's exciting. It's a really fun tour.
You guys are so creative as individuals and as a group, where you may be saying here in this moment, like, how do we top this? But we trust as fans, and I'm sure all the fans around the world know that, like, next year you're going to come up with even bigger and better stuff. So, you know, if you didn't get to see Pentatonix on tour, you know, this year, you know, look forward to, you know, holiday season 2024, because we know you guys are going to bring it in a big, big way. So Kevin, on our show, you know, we're Christmas Countdown. We like to do lists on our show. We do a lot of top 10 lists, but, you know, we're curious, you know, we'd love to go through maybe a couple top threes with you pertaining to the holiday season and find out what Kevin's top threes are. Are you game for that?
I absolutely love that.
We're going to start out easy. Let's go. What are your top three favorite Christmas songs of all time, starting at 3, working to 1?
Is it weird that actually a couple of them might actually be Pentatonix versions of songs?
No, that's awesome. That's great.
That would work perfectly, because that's how our countdowns go as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually the truth. Like, since we've been doing Christmas music, I've like really, really enjoyed them. So I'll say for number 3, the one that my daughter loves the absolute most, and I love it too, and every single time we listen to it together, it's just such a treat, and we're dancing around the house. It's Please Santa Please.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
This is a song that came out of a Nashville songwriting session that just, man, absolutely blew my mind, working with these two songwriters, Kara and Emily. And, you know, Chrissy was part of it too. And it just came away. It came out so beautifully in a way that I think we were so excited by. So that would be my number 3. My number 2 would be Kid on Christmas. That one, I remember me and Matt going in with our songwriter friend, Tranny Anderson and Jared Conrad, again in Nashville. And it was so cool. Tranny came into the session and said, you know what, y'all? I woke up, I prayed, and I had a song this morning. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. That's literally what
That's
said.
awesome.
And she sang us the verse and the chorus, and Matt and I were like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we finished it with her, and we sent it to the band. And at that time, Scott was working with Meghan Trainor on her most recent album. And he said, you know, maybe she'd be interested in doing it with us. And then he shared it with her, and she goes, this is an amazing song. She tweaked a couple of things and sang her vocal. And then, you know, it became such a great song on holidays around the world. So I would say those two are number 3, number 2. Number 1 is Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays by NSYNC.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Danny is very happy about that.
I feel so validated and vindicated and all the things right in this moment. That song slaps. I don't care who you are. When it comes on, you cannot help but smile and dance.
Absolutely. Danny, you are seen. You are loved.
Thank you.
I want to make sure you
Finally,
know
it's
that
only
right
taken
now.
3 years. 3 years,
gosh.
and finally it's happening.
That's so good. That is honestly the perfect answer that you could have given. And Danny is going to be on cloud 9 for a week just hearing that answer.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh,
Perma smile over here.
it is so good. Every single time I put that song on my playlist, it's like, it's done. You won't find me. I am dancing in a corner by myself, living my best life. And if you judge me, go ahead and judge me, because I'm going to be doing the things.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Wait, have you guys done a recording of that song?
We did. I don't know when,
okay.
but we have done that one.
Okay, I got to go dig that one up.
Kevin, we're going to switch from music to movies because those are sort of the two biggest things that we love to count down. Do you have a top 3, starting at 3, working to number 1, Christmas movies, your favorite Christmas movie?
I like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. I like
animated
that one a lot.
Okay.
Oh, number 2. I'm probably going to say Love Actually.
Ooh, I love Love Actually.
Whoa,
That one is such a good movie.
So many good parts.
Exactly. God only knows it's such a smash.
Yeah.
And then I would say number 1. Yeah, it's Home Alone for sure. Absolutely Home Alone.
Danny's
Kevin
favorite.
and I are meant to be best friends. We are meant to be best friends. We love the same music, same movies. Oh my gosh!
And also, that one's the one where I feel seen and I feel loved because it was cool to hear somebody scream Kevin's name, and I was like,
Kevin! Finally, there's a mom screaming at Kevin, and it's not my mom.
And it's not my mom. Exactly. I was like, I feel seen. I feel loved. This is so good.
Dude, that is a great list. Would you believe, Kevin, we were recently chatting with some cast members of Eric's. He's doing Christmas Story at the Amundsen here in LA.
Oh, wow.
And one person listed their number 1 movie as Home Alone 3.
3.
3?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like live your truth.
Yeah, good
but
for you.
also, have you seen the movie?
Exactly. But also no.
So, we know you got a lot going on. You guys are on tour right now. So, before we wrap up here, just curious, you're a dad now. Are there any favorite Christmas traditions or memories that you would love to share with everybody out there?
Oh man, I feel like we're just starting to get into that because our daughter is 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
And, so I don't necessarily know what traditions we're going to do yet. One of the things I do hope we do is do something related to service, because that's something that my parents did with me growing up in Owensboro, Kentucky. We went to this place called the Rick Pitino Shelter, and we would always bake cookies for kids. And I think that just really rooted for me what this time is actually about. It's about giving. It's about service. And that's what we do when we're on these stages as Pentatonix during the Christmas time. We get to serve all these families and give them a Christmas memory that they now can find and see as their tradition coming to our shows, hopefully each year. So that's really, really special. So I hope that, I have to think about that. One thing I will say that I think is that's so funny. Kaya really wants a reindeer for Christmas. She has
like an actual,
a reindeer.
That's amazing.
It's so funny. My wife was literally going through Home Depot. It's like, okay, hear me out. Just hear me out. And I'm like, where is this about to go? And so she just texted me these reindeer. I'm like, what are you asking me for? That's what she told me. Guys, for a reindeer for Christmas. I'm like, hey, you know what? We only have so many years where she's going to ask me that as a kid. We might as well.
That's a great point.
Have you seen the movie Prancer?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, you got to watch the movie Prancer. It's about a girl who finds a real Santa's reindeer and sort of has to nurse it back to health. It's a great movie. Check out Prancer, starring Sam Elliott.
I like that. I will remember that. Thank you.
Well, Kevin, we so appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. We want to encourage everyone out there, if you have not downloaded, purchased, streamed Pentatonix' new album, The Greatest Christmas Hits, which just came out, do yourself a favor, do it. It's got all the jams that you love on there, plus the new jam, which we're all loving, which is Please Santa Please. Huge fan of that one. Kevin, we appreciate you so much for hanging out. We want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you both so much. And thank you so much for your joy and your love and your spirit. This is exactly what Christmas is about, and you're bringing it to so many people. So thank you so much for what you all do.
Thanks, Kevin. We really appreciate that. Merry Christmas, buddy.
Absolutely.